that you did not testify? Laura Miles.
The chair now calls Laura Miles, representing herself, and she is for this bill.
Madam Chairman and members of the committee, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Laura Miles, and I'm representing myself. I'm in favor of HB 60. Thank you. And I'd just like to share my story through a letter that I wrote to my son. Dear Eli, Mommy wants to tell you how your sweet little life has changed mine forever. When I first found out about you, I called your daddy right away, crying tears of joy. The test read pregnant, and I was ecstatic. I felt so special to have your life starting inside of mine. You see, we had a miscarriage just 7 months before. I had a strong desire in my heart to have another baby, and it was truly a blessing from God that I became pregnant with you on the same day that my last baby would have been due. My love for you started in that moment, Eli, and it will never stop. After just 8 weeks along, the ultrasound showed you safely planted inside of a heart shape. A picture so profound and literally worth 1,000 words. I got to see and hear your beautiful heartbeat that day, and from then on I pretty much cried every time I heard it. Excited and anxious each day that passed, I hoped and prayed that everything was going well with you. So when I made it to 12 weeks, I couldn't wait to hear that you were clear of any problems. But on that day, I got different news. It was devastating news. The doctors told us that you had a rare condition called limb-body wall complex. And this meant that short of a miracle, you would not be able to survive outside of me. No chance at all. The doctors would not be able to fix what was wrong with your precious little body. And time stopped in my world that moment. I couldn't believe this was happening. Your daddy and I were told that most women decide to end the pregnancy after receiving news like this, and some even recommended that I choose the same. But Eli, I could never do that to you. I loved you too much to care about the risks, the fears, the horrifying unknown, and all I knew is that I trusted God and I wanted you. You were placed in my womb, and I wanted to do everything I could to love and protect you. I cried out to God for you and knew that I was not strong enough to carry you alone, and God spoke to me that day and asked me to carry you in the strength that only He could give, one day at a time. Eli, I can honestly say I've never felt more beautiful as a woman than I did when I had you with me. To watch my belly grow and see your sweet face on the ultrasounds was so breathtaking to me. You were happy and thriving against all odds, and I got to feel you moving and kicking, and at the same time I felt your beautiful spirit. I knew you, Eli, and that was so satisfying to me. Eli, other people got to watch you grow too, and you deeply touched their lives with your story. They pleaded for a miracle with us, and they lifted us up. I would never want to know what this journey would have been like without them. You challenged them to grow closer to God and to increase in faith and to remember what's important. God designed you, Eli, for His glory. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your testimony. The chair calls King. I'm sorry, we only have one name here. King, representing self, and is for the bill.
Yes, Lillian.
Okay, we've only got King in here. So what do we do? Do we need her to?
It's how she signed up. So
Okay.
That's going to be on the witness.
Well, you'll be on the witness list as King.
All right.
So you're representing yourself, and you're
Yes.
for the bill.
Yes. We have heard this evening that
Please begin with your name.
Lillian King.
And you are representing yourself, and you are
For.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm
Please.
sorry.
You're fine. Go right ahead.
We've heard this evening that low-income women and desperate young women have no place else to turn but to to Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics to receive reproduction help, and because they have to finish their schooling. But I would like to tell you that there are other options, and there are options here in Austin. There are loving options from crisis pregnancy centers and from an adoption clinic. The adoption clinic that I know of is in Waco, but they do come here. I was born in 1941, and there was no abortion then. And everyone chose life, and everyone was happy, and there weren't 56 million babies that were created that are no more. Everyone lived. Even the young women lived. Out of those 56 million babies that were aborted, half of those are young ladies. And so where are their rights? They don't have a voice. And so I wanted to come and speak on behalf of them. God's word says that we are to rescue those that are being led to slaughter. And I would like to tell you of the options that these young ladies have. Back in my day, adoption, there were so many couples, and there still are, and there are no babies. Women that I know in my neighborhood are adopting Chinese babies because there are no babies. The women in my life, if they couldn't keep their baby or they were out of wedlock, they gave their babies lovingly up for adoption. And these childless couples would adopt them, and so they would live. And so that's a beautiful thing, is life. And we are supposed to be, in the Constitution, we are supposed to be protecting life, all life.
Ms. King, if you can start wrapping it up, please.
Okay. Abby Johnson, in her book, she is a former abortion center director, and what changed her mind, what changed her life, and she came out of the abortion industry, is that she was for the first time asked
Ms.
to...
King, you need to finish, okay? Time is up.
Okay.
Thank you very, very much.
She actually saw an abortion.
Okay, thank you very much. Sandy Silvertooth here representing herself for the bill.
Good evening. Thank you for seeing me. My name is Shanae Silvertooth, and I represent myself, and I am here in support of the House Bill 60. I'm a Texas veteran who worked Kevlar to work. I am a rape survivor. I'm also someone who aborted a child. I stand here today to speak to you from my own experience, not from something that I learned in a classroom, not somebody else's agenda, but my own personal experience. I come to you today because I want to talk to you about choice. And here's what I choose to talk about. I choose to tell you about my son, whose love of music started at 16 weeks of pregnancy. As my stomach, every time he would hear music, would bounce visibly to anybody in the room, up and down. People, that is joy. Joy is an emotion, and emotion is life. I choose to tell you that when I was about 24 weeks pregnant, they told me that there was an anomaly, an abnormality with my child. I choose to tell you that today he is an 18-year-old senior, and he is very happy and very healthy. To tell you that after 2 miscarriages after my abortion, I had him and then another son who at 16 weeks. We had an anomaly. You might want to terminate your pregnancy. He is a 16-year-old, very strapping young man and a very talented athlete in the state of Texas. I'd also like to tell you about the abnormality that they told my adopted daughter that her son had, that he would possibly have a genetic predisposition to have cystic fibrosis, and we might want to terminate his pregnancy. I spent an hour on Tango with him this afternoon outside these very walls. He is a very happy, healthy, very healthy 8-month-old little boy. If we had listened to the anomalies and abnormalities, we would have killed 3 precious children. I did that once in Dallas in a back alley clinic that was neither healthy, did not resemble anything like health care. There was no care involved in that situation. And I promise you that I was not given the opportunity to make an informed choice. I was just told in the front door and out the back. I will also tell you about a choice that a family member who suffers with bipolar disorder, who chose to have children, who chose to not take her medication, to not take her birth control, who chose to have children, who also chose to give up those children and chose to take drugs. We all make choices. My question to you is, have you ever witnessed someone abort via RU 486? I have. And I say that if you are qualified to make this decision, you should actually witness that. I know that if I could express joy, if my child could express, I will wrap up, sir, please. Thank you.
Your testimony has been very compelling, but now if we can wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just ask that if you would please stand up for a higher standard of health care equivalent to a reasonable society and stop allowing women, born and unborn, to be scared to death, literally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. David Albert, here representing himself against the bill. Is David here? We'll show David against the bill, not testifying. Jennifer Alexander, here representing herself against the bill. Jennifer Alexander. Okay, we'll show Jennifer Alexander against the bill, not testifying. Nicole Arnsmeyer, hope I got that right, against the bill, representing herself, not testifying. Chelsea Brass, here representing herself against the bill. Ms. Brass here. We'll show Ms. Brass against the bill, not testifying. Jeff Chatton. Jeff Chatton here representing himself against the bill. We'll show Jeff Chatton not testifying.